little do niggas know, I got the powers to give a gift if I feel like it. The powers within be. But we gonna see how many niggas tune in. Yeah. Surprise show. Don't give a damn. If we get more than like, if I get like 10 niggas on this joint, I may or may not give something out. See, that's the thing. Niggas be only tuned in when there is a give. Oh shit, watch my voice not be shared on this, huh?
Now I'm finna give y'all another hit. And I just put my drink down. Milan, darling, Milan. That, to the slip, poodle, y'all think run this. Miss she, her black, designer, say Gucci, Prada print. DOE, I'm a condo rich, big Dolce, Diva, Donda, the Tokyo, Honda drip. Poppin' Dolce season, new persona, new pushback, but I'm still gon' get that. Labels quaking, they mistaken. I'm that wrist stay frozen, Q. Let's go, I'ma get. Unfazed, unbothered, with a boo, why bother? I'm that, you ain't no. I'm a get money type of, if you ain't getting money, don't type me. Crocodile Birkin might bite him, can't hang with her if I don't like it. These, I come through and nip you crickets, I come through and moose be switching. I'm the problem, I'm the villain. I don't see these rickshaws, throwing dirt on my name and he gon' hit still. Know who to play with, and he's know who to play with.
world and ain't seen a thing that I can't buy. See, reaching these type of heights, it come with a third eye. I'm better at betting on me, the numbers don't lie.
That's how we rollin'. You know them gold diggers, want to pick at a litter, burying them hidden figures. I keep them triple hitters, call them silverback gorillas, going 8-8, and you know ain't nobody. What up?
Sometimes, yeah, this is the big ticket. Culture Cop Town, I'm talking that King Richard. This like a movie, I'm seeing the bigger picture. These fellas are Cinderellas, I'm crushing them glass slippers.
On sight, I give you the green light. It's all bark, we all bite.
You gambling with your life, let's roll the dice.
Piece of problems if this dog in a fight.
That's right.
Baby, I'm just trying to get
Legendary.
open the wide.
Something like
Mind if I pull up with a few?
we can't arrange that.
Dropping out of the blue.
You know what that.
All I wanna do is and just take your money. All I wanna do is and just take your money.
Hip hop took this globe.
We done did it.
Wanna see a mogul? We showing you how to pivot. Got this from DMC. Let's run with it. Took the fundamentals and having some fun with it.
These songs, King Kong, my team strong. Godzilla set fire to whatever I breathe on. Got the killers in choir all singing my theme song.
I could never do this alone. Still Dre, still on top, still got it. The Sonic still iconic, they still the product. I seen the money coming, I showed you that I'm a prophet.
And I'm riding shotgun in case it get out of pocket. Why you wanna press the issue? You need to stop and keep a lawyer on retainer for depositions and dockets. Back to the topic in case you forgot it. Anonymous head bobbing, baby, keep that popping.
Baby, I'm just trying to get
Legendary.
open the wide.
Something like
Mind if I pull up with a few?
we can't arrange that.
Dropping out of the blue.
You know what that.
All I wanna do is and just take your money. All I wanna do is and just take your money.
Ay, wake up, shot calling. Pay what I bought it. New crib, psychotic. I'm so iconic. Fly down to see the islands. She ain't even bring a wallet. They don't get it, but I got it. I'm so iconic. Yeah, straight out the Linux, that on for hours. I'm straight out the minutes. They calling up Dion and straight out the business. We take out the Sims and then take out percentage. Period, yeah, break out the minutes from capital M. Now we straight out the sentence. They pay out, I'm finished. Then grade out the lake house, the bay, watch the women. I curse. Go meet your maker. Lord, please don't save them. Minor bumps since I've been paving the road. I go to sleep, go major. Silver too, but I've been playing for gold. The metal keep close range. I cleaned up, still dangerous. Can't change West Philly raised. Wake up, shot calling. Pay what I bought it. New crib, psychotic. I'm so iconic. Fly down to see the islands. She ain't even bring a wallet. They don't get it, but I got it. I'm so iconic. Got your stacks up, but you ain't got no rings, yeah. Got my stats up, I'm living out my dreams, yeah. Stretch this condo, I can fit a limousine, yeah. Ain't that ironic? I'm so iconic. This be my tunnel music. Like cut that confetti, I'm running through it. Like clear that whole lane, I'm running through it. And if they run at me, let my youngins do it. I just married, I'm honeymooning. I got hot on my own and ain't nothing coolin'. I don't punch in no clock. I sun and moon and I'm shot bullet. Proven, let it go. Wake up, shot calling. Pay what I bought it. New crib, psychotic. I'm so iconic. Fly down to see the islands. She ain't even bring a wallet. They don't get it, but I got it. I'm so iconic. Got your stacks up, but you ain't got no rings, yeah. Got my stats up, I'm living out my dreams, yeah. Stretch this condo, I can fit a limousine, yeah. Ain't that ironic? I'm so iconic. I'm so iconic. Yeah, I'm so iconic. Yeah, they don't get it, but I got it. Ain't that ironic? I'm so iconic. Natural ground music. Riding in the years. Not used. Tighten up, you would lose. I approve. I bet I stamped and approved. Straight up the ground, make all you haters get down. You understand what I'm saying?
I can show you lame, how to do this. Stack your money up, be about your business. They come with a wish list. They come with a wish list. I can show you lame, how to do this. Stack your money up, be about your business. They come with a wish list. They come with a wish list. Hey, I met this girl the other night. She said she wanted me and be a money white. Respectfully declined because I said I got a wife. She said she wanted man, her best friend is known around the way. I started hearing about her type. Always with the ball players, that's the one she likes. She got it done, and I guess they look alright. They call her princess, but she down in every. In and out of DMs, tryna be a rapper. She won't get the W, I skirt off when I see him. I know it's gonna get worse when I start doing Coliseums. Gonna be, I just call it how I see him. Let me clarify, I ain't talking about all women. Some just wanna settle down and have a couple cheering. For all my rapper homies, just be careful while you touring. You need a pretty girl, but her intentions ain't the purest. I can show you lame, how to do this. Stack your money up, be about your business. They come with a wish list. They come with a wish list. I can show you lame, how to do this. Stack your money up, be about your business. They come with a wish list. They come with a wish list.
Hey, second phone buzzing, just delete the other number, yeah. Cruising at 103 till I seen them team that went the record. She was peeking out the cover. She said, Gigi, wait, you know. Grew up down the street, my uncles up her brothers. I said, jumping back, been lit. You at? She was just running, Emmett Smith, running back. She gotta make it. Rubbing it, just caught up. Then she got me playing down, painting nails, calling me sound like the heads of the way I be chasing. You know she got them brands of the bed. I'm in Miami, so knowing the fans of the jet. I caught her door back with a 50, she wanted the. She said, who? About to make me cancel this L. She said, hood is on, but she in a condo that her buddy own. Payment good, if she good is gone, boy, you should've known. Calling me up on 50 phones, foot on all these. Never let them keep me on my tippy toes.
I can show you lame, how to do this. Stack your money up, be about your business. They come with a wish list. They come with a wish list. I can show you lame, how to do this. Stack your money up, be about your business. They come with a wish list. They come with a wish list.
You wanna try to beat the force, I wanna try to defeat the law. You wanna be with me, of course. Show you look a piece, wanna see some more, see some more, see some more, see some more, see some more. Soul gonna rise when I leave this corpse. Show you look a piece, wanna see some more.
Don't be afraid of the bounce. See when your things levels gotta change to get mouth. How can I walk in doubt? Never been a beg, never been a loud mouth. Pen can go for days. I'm obsessed with it, can't change my ways. So blessed with it, what can I say? Top form staying in shape.
You wanna try to beat the force, I wanna try to defeat the law. You wanna be with me, of course. Show you look a piece, wanna see some more, see some more, see some more, see some more, see some more. Soul gonna rise when I leave this corpse. Show you look a piece, wanna see some more.
I'm gonna run it up, though you know your fun is up. James knew back when I was coming up, didn't wanna know then. Now I bet they're loving us no more. No R&R, the bar is raised. If you know me, know I can bar for days. Nothing there to prove, cause I've done enough. Lights out, still gonna keep the torch. Show you a little piece, wanna see some more?
You wanna try to beat the force, I wanna try to defeat the law. You wanna be with me, of course. Show you a little piece, wanna see some more, see some more, see some more, see some more, see some more. Soul gonna rise when I leave this corpse. Show you a little piece, wanna see some more.
Damn niggas, I had y'all muted the whole time. Uh, nah. So what I was saying was, damn, I definitely had niggas muted the whole time. That's painful. What I was saying was, I was gonna run through this shit because I was gonna run through the awards, fellas. So y'all let me know if I should run through the awards. Only reason why I say I could do it real quick is because we didn't do it last night because we were trying to press for the games and Craig had a game, and we're not doing the another award show. We're not doing the award show probably until them niggas are on at the same time. But that mean either we got to do the awards later or it might not happen obviously later because we are talking about Craig and Rob here. So I'm off early. I was thinking I could do the award show, talk a little bit about the draft, talk a little bit about division leaders, or predictions for next year, maybe some underachievers, overachievers, a little conversation just in general. Um, but that's only if niggas really wanted to. I wanted to see if we could get this joint to like 10 people on it, push it to like 10 people, and we could get some shit going. I don't really got to dive into the games. I did just want to look at this nasty ass game because, uh, yeah, Dallas really won this shit at the end of the game. So I don't really know what the fuck, how the fuck, but yeah, I figured there was just a couple things we could get into a little bit more that we didn't get into yesterday because Craig, it was a late show and Craig was about to play. So if niggas want to hear about it, then cool. But if not, then we'll just wait until whenever the hell Craig and them get situated to do the shit. But the three or four y'all that's up here, what y'all think? Y'all think I should just wait, figure out when and if the show's gonna be later, or I should just go ahead and knock that shit out? Yeah, that's why I said only the diehard. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Only like I only saw like four or five. Um, Chat was chipping earlier. I wish I'd have got off a little bit earlier so I could do it earlier. But there's a lot of things to necessarily talk about. You got the draft order, first 10, 5 people, see what they should do, shouldn't do, get a look at the draft board, etc. Predictions for next year. I want to do some shit next year where predict the division by like week 3, week 4, and then um, give out like a reward or gift for it if it comes through later in the year. But next year is gonna be our last year, so I don't really until we reboot. So I don't really know how I might do it. I might do the division leaders and winners, but I don't give the gift until the reboot, or I don't know for real. Just been thinking of some couple things to kind of like keep people tuned in to different conferences, different games is going on. I don't know. If I don't get enough feedback in like 3 minutes, I'm gonna just cut this bitch. Try again later. But yeah. Oh shit. I don't even. I wish I'd have watched that game live yesterday. That's so damn nasty. Yeah, I probably will. Are you gonna be tuned in next year, bro? What you got going on over there, Brad, in Arizona, man? Like, you gonna be dialed in next year? Be tuned in next year? Oh, that's Bucks. I was like, damn, I don't even remember which niggas Squeeze react. Hey, Squeeze, how the fuck you lose to So Squeeze, you lose to Carolina on purpose. Week 12, I mean week 14, whatever the fuck the last season, week 18, whatever that is. You lost to Panthers on purpose. Like you lost to Panthers for real because you knew. I mean, you lost to Panthers on purpose because you knew you had to play him again, or you lost from like bullshitting. We'll be straight. I had to air that shit out trying to rebuild. Yeah, because you gotta get them receivers over there. What's good, Donnie? You gotta get them receivers over there. Um, he was playing in dirt. He just beat me. I threw the last drive. Damn. I gotta go to the fucking to the shit to see what the rest of what he said. His last drive, he didn't beat me and threw a pick. I wasn't locked in. No, I'd be like that. I'd be like that. It'd be like that. We got six. Okay. He decent throw. I def try. Yeah, the Panthers wasn't bad. He just I don't know. When I played him, that he wasn't bad. His defense was better than his offense, but like he just couldn't do shit. Like I don't know. He was trying to run the ball and shit on me, and I don't really like when niggas run the ball and shit on me. So that shit ain't really go well. But obviously he's 11 and whatever. Really waiting on my D line, which is almost there. O line and then shambles though. Well, shit, man. The last draft, I'll say, Brad. Last draft, I'll say the O lineman Rob Bless. So this one, I mean, you got to just dedicate two or three offensive lineman, picks. Rob said he had some linemen on the block too, so it just kind of depends on where you at with that. But I wouldn't. Obviously, it's the last season, so the balance between rookies and regular players is kind of just up to how much you gonna think you're gonna be able to develop them. Honestly, because with one season left, draft picks do mean a lot still because this draft is loaded. But obviously, if you're not somebody or in a position to try to get all the rebuild and you're trying to do it all in one year, you gotta go get some regular players, I think, um, to really help you out next year. Like if you are a team that's trying to make some noise next year, I think you gotta find the balance between drafting and getting some players like that can really change your program around, especially if you're not good at building or if you're not good at this. And I'm not saying you, Brad, in general. I'm just in general. I mean, I'm not saying you, Brad, specifically. I'm speaking in general. Um, but Donnie said the Panthers beat him. Yeah, I don't know how that happened either, Donnie. That shit, he's not that good, I think, where he should be beating some of the top people in the league. But I mean, he's solid. We got 6 or 7 up here, so I'll re-ask. Uh, Obviously, we were going to go through the awards yesterday. We ended up talking about the matchups, and then we talked about a couple like we picked some matchups, talked about the matchups. Um, do y'all feel like I should go through the awards now while I'm here versus waiting for Craig or Rob to maybe try to go through it tonight? Rob get off at 8, Craig get off at whatever time. Or should we try to do, if this doesn't happen tonight, then it might happen tomorrow, whatever the case be. Um, or I could sit here and run through the awards, probably give a little bit of, a little love to some of the awards and some of the stat peoples, and then, let the conversation just kind of drift. Raiders will be back. I don't deny. I think the Raiders will beat their division next year, probably too. Um, like I said though in the chat, like a regular season be cool. MVP is great as a by itself award, but MVP in a questionable division is not that great. Or MVP when if you were definitely losing games, I wouldn't say it'd be that great. But MVP made the playoffs. I don't think you made it last year, but I don't know if you were on the team last year. So maybe that. And then um and then it's still a rookie. Still Cam Ward, still a rookie. I found your season impressive, but like, were you playing in the fourth place position, third place position? Like, who did you play? And was Cam Ward really that good, or was it, like you're up by a couple touchdowns on some ass nigga, and you start running it up with Cam Ward, or shit like that is kind of what comes into question. Um, yeah, we had a show last night. It just wasn't super in depth. We did like we did some pick'ems. We did some other shit, but it wasn't. We didn't even get into like awards, the stat leaders, and then we didn't really touch on the draft really any. And nah, that's not hating. I mean, you could be an MVP if you don't win shit to me. Like, that's cool. You just an MVP. Like, I'm not here for no award. I promise niggas. Like, I could give a rat's ass if I win zero awards in every year that y'all see me. If I'm out there winning bowls or even getting two Super Bowls, y'all can have them awards. I really don't care about that shit. Awards is just an indication of how you play more so. Like you got somebody that's sitting there, wide receiver, and you throw him the ball 100 times. Guess what? He's gonna win the award. Like it's not much rocket science to it. It doesn't even mean his player is better than mine, or he don't, mean he's better than me either. So awards just don't do nothing to me. Like they're just kind of like they're cool. Um, but let's see, awards. Yeah, I go through the awards. We got like nine up here. Um, it's not even downplaying the play, but if you tell me, okay, why can I change? I want to see all the messages. I don't know where my shit is at. I can't see all the messages for whatever reason. It's not even a downplay. If you tell me, bro, it's the same conversation with like Junty in real life. Like if you tell me, okay, the running back is the MVP and your running back is the most carries in the league, they do got like top three in yards, they got top three in touchdowns, and whatever the case be, and you're like 12-5, it's an easy point to make to be like, yo, if you're 12-5, like you were winning some of those games, shout out to that, like cool. Um, how much yards did he have though when you're blowing niggas out the water, or like how many yards did he have against ass niggas? Because bro, if you're playing ass niggas and you got a fourth place schedule, your MVP is still an MVP, but like can that shit persist when you're playing dogs? Yeah, so he tanked last year. He had a fourth place schedule. Like I tanked last year. I had a fourth place schedule. So outside of my division, I played all the other niggas that also weren't good last year. So like, yeah, I'm 12-5. That's cool. Or 13-4, whatever the fuck I am. That's cool. But like, that's an easy argument or easy conversation I make for myself. Like, yeah, who the fuck did I play though? For real? Like, I didn't play Nas. I didn't play Toogie. I didn't play. I don't think I played the Jets. Um, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you went toe to toe with a nigga that was tanking last year and then took a season this year to be serious. And toe to toe and still lost isn't the same thing. Like, you went toe to toe with Craig and lost. You went toe to toe with me and lost. So, like, those are two dogs and you lost. So, the moral of my story is not going to be like, oh, he lost by a point or he lost by two, he lost by three. Nigga, you lost. Point blank period. Like you lost. It doesn't give a fuck if I win by one. I guess what? I fucking won. I'm still continuing on my season. I'm can still continue on whatever. Nas is good. Nas is good. I've seen Nas be good. This is Madden 25. I've been playing with Nas since Madden 23 at least. Nas is good. He's been a good user. He plays the game well. He builds his team well. You don't see him going crazy in trades. He's an active user. He's not an easy beat. You don't see the Packers or see Nas on your schedule and lick your lips and go, I got me a win. There's a couple of y'all I see when I play y'all on my schedule. I'm not worried in the slightest about losing. There is levels to this shit. I've never once looked at Nas and been like, yeah, that's an easy dub. I've never once looked at Craig and been like, that's an easy dub. I've not once looked at the Rams, Ramon, and been like, that's an easy dub. So I think some of them niggas like, yeah, nigga Ramon got the Rams. Why you think he said I'm never getting the Rams again? That shit kind of matters a little bit. Coming off of a fourth place and he's playing with a not a suffice team for real, but he still go out there and win games. Like same shit when Brad come back next year. I know Brad is a good user, so Brad come back next year and start beating niggas with the Chargers. Like I mean with the Cardinals. I don't want to hear like, oh, like he's not gonna say like, oh, I had the Cardinals. Even on the chat right now, that nigga told me like, I just gotta build. I gotta do a little 1-2. Next thing you know, like bang, the same shit what I told y'all year one. I said like, yeah, I'm tanking because I don't fuck with this game. I gotta figure it out, and I don't like the way this roster is. Some niggas called the Jags low tier. Some niggas called them no tier. Some niggas called them mid tier. Regardless, I got to make it my tier. So then next year, I come here, I call the division, I say I'm going to win the division. I split with the Titans, I beat the Texans, the Jags. I mean, the Colts shit, I got one win and then I got a forced win, but the Colts doesn't have a consistency of beating me. So even then, again, not worried. And now we here. I ain't throw myself in no top nothing conversation. But if you ask anybody else that's played me, they don't look at the cipher and say like, yeah, use a lick. Like, yeah, the cipher is finna be a dub. So it's really levels to this shit, Raiders. It's not that I'm discrediting you at all, but um, yeah, like I just your name means nothing to me in the league, respectfully. And you winning an MVP, okay, like start pulling out my binoculars, be like, all right, you know what I'm saying? But then you won MVP and lost the first round. So it's like, all right, well, remember I said it's 5 elite, 6 elite niggas. It's 5 or 6 niggas after that I would say is dogs. That puts us about 12. It's about 5 or 6 niggas that I'm saying are mid tier. You know what I'm saying? So that puts us around like 18, 20. And then the rest of y'all, I think it kind of just like depends. Like some of y'all, it depends on if y'all feel like playing and give a fuck. Some of y'all, I think it just depends on like the Maddens. And no one can talk back but text. I asked y'all on the chat. I said, who want to get on the pod? Asked y'all in the chat. I said, who want to get on the pod? But yeah, I'm responding to y'all live text messages, so we having a conversation. Y'all just a little bit behind me, but don't worry, I'll be going back. Like I don't know thing. Bengals here, cool. So I got like 12. So I'm finna get this bitch on the road. Craig, I'm finna run through the awards because some people wanted that shit last night. Um, and I could understand why. I don't want to not. I don't want us to not get to it or to miss it. And then we're in the Super Bowl or something, trying to go back and shit like that. Nobody's rambling about my feelings. How long are you gonna be ass? Should be the real question here, brother Carter. Welcome to the Max Podcast. Nobody's worried about you. Continuing on, I'll run through the awards because I feel like showing some love. So we'll come out the rip. I'm only going for the top 5 minus rookies. Rookies is the only category I'm going to go from 1 to 10 because I don't like they're rookies. They're youngins. I don't care about being number 7 in the MVP race. So I'm only going top 5. Yeah, I ain't going to do the matchups. I thought about that a little bit more because they're not done. If anything, I was only going to talk about the matchups that aren't played yet. Bucks, Panthers, Steelers, Titans, and whatever that other matchup is at the bottom of the NFC. Like, getting into it a little bit more, just the users and the teams. But we got Cam Ward here, MVP. I'm pretty sure when I go check the stats, he's leading in probably touchdowns and yards, but solid season. Obviously, he's a rookie. He's throwing to some really experienced and, good wide receivers that he's got over there. Went and got the trade for CeeDee Lamb. He took Devontae off the block so he can have some real they have some real wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, and still got Brock Bowers and shit. So I like Cam Ward. I like where he's got. I like the offense he's got. I mean, the coach is confident in him, confident in his quarterback. I fuck with everything that's going on right now for the Las Vegas Raiders. They won the division last year after tanking this year after tanking last year. Everything is looking up for them. I think next year it's about sustainability, being able to do it again now that you're not in the 4th place schedule like myself. And then, winning the division. It all starts with winning the division, and then you try to win the conference, and then obviously you try to win the Super Bowl. So it's got to start with Cam. He's got to dial down and figure out, as a coach, what else he needs to do to get the wins that he needs to so he can win the division, and then, so on and so forth. Where the Lions at? Somebody tell the Lion. He said he want to get in on the podcast. Damn. I'll try to spin around. I'm doing it now just because I got somebody tell Zada that I'll try to spin around later. I'm trying to do some shit now before I get into some games and shit. Um, but I like the Raiders. Solid user so far of what I've seen. Cam Ward was great throughout the season. Got to come back and look for year two. Then we got Josh Allen, last year's MVP, last year's Super Bowl winner. Looks like he's trying to get back to it. Uh, Obviously, we know Josh Allen is Josh Allen. Craig out of pocketly tried to call this nigga the White Vic yesterday. Minus that comment, Josh Allen is who he is. No real surprises here. He's kind of carrying, obviously. Uh, he's carrying, obviously. The receivers over there, they're gonna get to where they get to. Had you had given Craig, Amari Cooper, like had the league had been made after Amari Cooper was on the Bills, be another little bit of different conversation there. But Craig is going to do what he does with a lot of quarterbacks. Josh Allen, with him though, he's not even fully tapped in fully on the mobility and shit of Josh Allen. Obviously the dual threat part, but he's got Josh Allen being a solid passer in the league. So shout out to Craig. Um, we got Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson is his name. No action Jackson. Despite Ravens game and I yesterday, I could tell y'all Lamar was the pinpoint of my whole defense. When you play this guy, not even just Rob, when you play Lamar, he does do a lot of like, he's just quick, he's fast, he does Lamar things. He can throw a really quick read. Body green, eyes, oh, his emojis. I wish I could. Oh, body green, cactus jack, cactus jack. Oh, haters block out. I ain't never seen that shit before. That must be some new shit. Um, But yeah, Lamar is always going to be good. I think the problem is with his organization now is, the game is obviously concerned them a little bit, and they're not really using Lamar to the biggest ability that he is, and that's obviously a dual threat. So I think when Lamar gets back to being dual threat, fully like full threat Lamar, dual threat Jackson, I think, he's always going to stay in this top three, top four, but they'll be able to continue on with the strong season. Um, but in Lamar, he's good. I saw him yesterday. He had a couple missed throws, barely, but was able to throw. His release is really, really quick. Really, really accurate quarterback for the most part. But they do hold Lamar a little bit in the game. Then we got J5. I gotta say, now that we're here, one of the worst trades in Commanders history or this league for this current thing before the reboot. Gotta be one of the worst trades I've seen. I can't even tell you what the fuck he got for J5, but I can tell you that like now that he doesn't want Stafford, he's playing a young guy. It's a terrible full circle for the Commanders. It's a great move by the Buccaneers to go and get their what would have been their franchise quarterback per se. And he's been nothing short of great since he's gotten over there. Everybody questioned the move last year. He's back here this year in the top five. The Bucks are in the playoffs. They won the division. So, I mean, shout out to damn, who the hell got the Bucks? Um, don't get me lying. Nunu got the Chargers. Squeeze. Yep, yeah, there we go. So Squeeze got the motherfucking Bucks. So shout out to Squeeze. I think obviously you got the Bucks with Mike Evans and Godwin to start and Odd and Kate Oden to start. I don't remember all of what he's done or what he did over there, but simply having J5 and he brought him into a team with weapons is kind of the same thing with Cam Ward and keeping Devontae, going to get CD and having Brock Bowers. He's got two receivers and a tight end basically that is going to allow his young quarterback to go out there and do what he needs to do. Um, so shout out to Squeeze for bringing in J5, a Heisman quarterback, and he's doing Heisman shit. Go to another Heisman. By the way, these are all Heismans minus Cam Ward and Allen right now. So we go to another Heisman, Sunshine. Not gonna do too much on my boy. But Sunshine responded well, man. He was, Rumorville had it early that Sunshine might lose his job to Quinn or he might get traded. Just had a rough year last year. Got him a number one weapon with Travis Hunter. Doubled down with some more offensive weapons. But Sunshine looks like he has it figured out. Won the division. after having a bad year. Won our first playoff game. Um, I like Sunshine. I think he does most things right, and then he always can sneak in his little athleticism and dual threat. But I think he does most things right, honestly. He knows how to command the offense, knows how to really play mistake-free football at times. But, we do keep it aggressive. We allow him to be the guy who he was when he came out of Clemson, which is, making plays with his arms and sometimes with his legs. So out of all these quarterbacks up here, obviously we got a one rookie, second year player, and then we got some veterans. I would say the most impressive up here has got to be probably Cam Ward, um, just because of the rookie part and, him having to go out there with those, veteran receivers and not basically let them down. The next and most impressive, I guess, I would probably go to J5 or Allen. Still don't feel like Allen's weapons are necessarily better than everybody's on this list, but he's consistently, obviously, um, he's needed for the team to basically win over there. I would say that about Cam. The way that Rob is using Lamar, you question on if Lamar is needed over there for like their wins. Don't get it fucked up. Lamar is still good, but the way that they play, do they need a Lamar Jackson to go out there and get the wins that they have now with the productivity that they have now? Because I don't know how much they're really utilizing him and his legs because we didn't see a whole lot last night. Um, Go over to Coach of the Year though. Shout out to Tug, win Coach of the Year. Didn't have the best record I think in the league. I think he had a couple more losses in the Jets. Um, but shout out to Tug. Coach of the Year is a nice award to have, especially if he can go down there and do some things with his team. Also, after coming off another year, just another team, another coach where they didn't make the playoffs last year, and then now they came back and won their division. So shout out to Tug, Coach of the Year. Um, I'm gonna dig into the NFC first because I'm the AFC, so I'm digging to the NFC first. So we got Josh Jacobs here, who I like. I like Josh Jacobs. I like the way that he's used. I like the way that he's used from the Packers. I thought we did have to create custom coach too. I didn't say nothing because I was gonna text in the chat, but since you put it out loud, I like Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is solid. I like the way that Nas uses him. I like the way that, in real life, I'm a fan of Josh Jacobs. He runs tough, gritty runner, consistent runner. He shitted with him last year. He's shitting with him again this year. So shout out to Tug. Shout out to Nas for Josh Jacobs up here with the offensive player, not even just the running back, offensive player of the year. We got Saquon, who's obviously having a crazy year in real life, so it's nice to see him up here representing in the game. I don't know much about the Eagles user, but solid shout out to Saquon for being up here. Brad said he had to work on his passing, and it shows. We got Marvin Harrison up here, looking to build him, looking to get his wide receiver one to reflect wide receiver one overall in ratings. Can't really be mad here. He will be the future of the team next year, I will imagine, as far as like the focal point. Got obviously the Cards aren't having the season that they would like, but at least Marv is making sure he gets his and throughout of it. Now the Panthers with Jonathan Brooks. So we got 3 running backs, a tight end, and a receiver in the top 5. It's a little different, a little interesting. But Jonathan Brooks, solid running back in college, came out, had an injury. Solid use for the Panthers out of him last year. Solid use this year. I feel like I saw him in the top 5 majority of the time when I did get on, seeing him in the leaders for rushing yards. When I played him, though, through and through back, I just don't think he's really explosive. So if you can keep him contained, it kind of does rattle up the game plan for the Panthers. And then we have Laporta, one of my favorite tight ends in real life, a key focal point in the Lions offense in real life. Solid tight end, does everything right, can catch, can block, doesn't complain. Just one of those white boy Iowa type tight ends where you just, you're getting good output and good effort out of him every play. And honestly, a good tight end can cripple a lot of defenses because do you put linebackers, do you put a safety, do you put a corner on him? You kind of have to find that right matchup for him. And if you don't got it for him, it can make some other position or another matchup, distress. So I respect the Lions definitely having a tight. Well, I respect anybody for having a tight end, but definitely the Lions specifically having Laporta up here in a room full of dogs Like Laporta might be the questionable of dogs and playmakers. Laporta is the only tight end that's just, up here doing his due diligence. Defensive player, shout out to Squeeze again for another player up here getting an award. He's got the legend John Lynch up here getting defensive award. Obviously, we know what John Lynch does. He's a great all-around safety that can knock somebody's head off. So I'm guessing that he moves him all around the field, playing a little bit of sub. Maybe he plays a little bit of deep because he has linebackers over there in Tampa Bay. Um, Boy, he has at least one with Levante David if he didn't trade him by now. But John Lynch, congrats on the award. And then you got Brian Burns, um, dog in real life, dog in the game. He's surrounded by a bunch of other dog D lines, so you kind of expect maybe one of them to make the cut. But shout out to Burns. Obviously, the Giants, will hopefully get back to a playoff season next season. I think they fell one game short with their last game of the season matchup to the Cowboys. Then you got Winfield. So you got two Bucks up here, two safeties at that. So obviously you're getting a lot of production out the Bucks safety room. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Bucks probably have a top pass defense in the league when they have two safeties like this. Another good player in real life, been good since college, comes from NFL pedigree. So he's up here just doing his due damn diligence, which is nice to see. The Bucks obviously have something to continue to build off of going into next season and in the playoffs. They kind of know what their strong points are. We got Tre'Davious Ward for the Niners. I would have to dive in individually. Niners defense didn't really bother me personally, but Tre'Davious Ward being a real life player, see a couple real life players here on the defensive end. I think those guys are just, obviously built a little bit different in the game, awareness, play rec, things like that. So just able to be there. Tre'Davious Ward is one of the smarter cornerbacks throughout the league. So it's nice to see, there's value in that. Like I was saying earlier, if you're not one of those guys that can build a player that's out the draft, you got to start looking or investing in guys that are already built in the game that you can either get nice or already nice a little bit, or whatever the case be. Tre'Davious Ward is not by far any top like scary corner in the league when you load up and play Madden, but he is a corner that's most likely going to be in the right place at the right time and can give you a high percentage chance in making the right plays. So shout out to Tre'Davious Ward. And you got J.C. Horn, one of the highest prospects coming out when he came out in college a couple years back, almost like 5 years now at this point. Dog through and through, though, having a good year in real life. Solid, person where you just kind of stay away from him. I could say I definitely don't look to throw near him, or if I do know he's there, if I do have a nice matchup or a decent matchup somewhere else, I'll take that matchup somewhere else. Solid corner, plays physical. Good key point for the Panthers defense, always has been, especially on Madden. Him and Jeremy Chin and Burns were literally, biggest points. And, you got Burns and Horn sitting right here. So goes to show, real life, the Panthers tweaking the bag. But shout out to J.C. Horn for being up here. So we got two corners, two safeties, and a DN. I'll go top to bottom here. Got Savion Williams out of Dallas, Evan Stewart from Seattle, another Dallas player with Trayvon Henderson, Nicholas Singleton from Commanders, Taj Felton and Caleb Johnson coming out the Bucks, Jimmy Horn, Colorado, coming from New Orleans, Lambert Smith coming from the Rams, Kobe Hudson, Alabama, coming from the Bucks, and then Oscar Delp, tight end, coming from the Commanders. So, I think it's impressive. Like, I am surprised that Savion Williams up here is the number one, just based off of knowing what Savion is in college, knowing what he probably looked like coming out, and seeing some of these other guys that are up here. I'm a little surprised, but I'm impressed with the productivity here. It's getting a lot of production out of Savion. Um, I'm impressed. I have to go look in later and look at some of the stats for it, but overall impressed. Don't know a lot about the Seahawks user, um, but at least he can hang his hat on his season being his Evan Stewart, being a really good high rated receiver, obviously in real life, high rated prospect coming out. Um, Not a super like tall guy, but you pair him with DK. If he still got JSN, which I'm sure he probably doesn't use because most people don't use JSN for whatever reason. He can get a little nice little punch here, but he's got speed with size with DK, and then he's got speed with shiftiness with Evan Stewart. So shout out to him. Trayvon Henderson, one of my favorite running backs that's going to come out in the upcoming draft. Dog through and through. Um, Perfect balance between speed, excel, agility, can shift, he can catch a little. He's not an easy tackle, but he's not exactly a tank mode running around. Solid 215, 220 back at like 5'9", 5'11", some shit like that. Um, this is a good like thing to have when you got two young people up here for the Cowboys in their offense. Kind of shows me what direction they're going in without me really even having to like dive in. You would expect these two names to be very key, high focal points for their offense next year with Savion and Trayvon Henderson. Um, see some other NFC people as well too. So it looks like they kind of know what's going forward for them, and they kind of know how to utilize what their players will be. And some of those growing pains will definitely not be there for them next year when they surround their sophomore year around them, especially when you got higher quarterbacks that are going to get better, put your playmakers in better positions to do things that are great. Then you got Singleton, solid running back coming out. Um, I'm a little, again, surprised just because, like I said, the talent and the name and some of the other people that you might think just get burned more are not necessarily. But I like this Nicholas Singleton prospect. Penn State obviously producing another running back that's in the NFC East. Penn State is a great spot to get running backs. Kind of a do-it-all back, can catch a little, but all-purpose back. I guess I'll say all-purpose back. Can run them on first, run them on third, run them through the gaps, run them outside. Um, Solid back. Obviously coming from Penn State, you know that his O line was always good, decent, on the upper echelon. Might not be producing like every line looking like an Alabama line, but solid O line. So shout out to Tug for making sure he comes in with a decent O line or at least a decent scheme to get him up here. Because the Commanders' O line isn't great, but it's not terrible. And you got Taj Felton, and I'll go Caleb Johnson. So I seen Squeeze talking about his youngins are his offense. Caleb Johnson coming out of Iowa, under understudy running back. When I say more so like not just a household name, not somebody that you can sit there and tell me everything about them and where they came from, but I do know obviously Iowa's running the ball, solid running back system, solid scheme over there. So I know what he's getting out of Caleb Johnson is definitely just a through and through back. Uh, Not necessarily maybe anything that jumps off the paper when he first came out and he first drafted him, but he knew he had a solid back. He knew he had somebody they would be able to rely on and be a number one running back for him going forward. And pair with a young J5. See three young players here. Um, didn't skip over Ty Felton. Just wanted to drive into another running back here that's a little off the radar, but shout out to Squeeze for making his name on the radar. Ty Felton, obviously, he's a receiver coming out of Maryland. Solid career in Maryland. Goes down a couple states. Get down there in Tampa Bay with the Bucks. Probably one of J5's top targets, I would imagine. It's one of those underrated receivers just because of the school, but a solid through and through receiver. I don't know if he's number one, if he's playing in the slot, and Squeeze, you can kind of elaborate because you're here. Where is Ty getting most of his looks at? I would think the slot, but he might be on the outside. I say slot just because of his play style, but he is 6'2", 6'3", so like he might be on the outside everywhere. See, yeah. So okay, that makes sense. Really, like I said, really solid receiver. Caught like 100 passes this year, or well, this active year in real life with Maryland. He's on pace for like 100, 1,000 yards, and like 10 touchdowns too. So I mean, just having him. Oh, he did go get Jamar. That's right. That's right. You did go get Jamar because you traded Mike over there for Jamar. That's right. That's right. That's right. So he's got him with Jamar. So I mean, he's got a great person to like look to, get that direct guidance from, possibly, potentially, argumentatively, one of the best receivers in the league, if not the best, and then on the game as well with Jamar Chase. So I mean, when you can't focus all your attention on Jamar because you got somebody like this, and you can't focus a majority of your attention on a Ty Felton when you still are playing against Jamar Chase. So it looks like J5 has definitely got it figured out, and they've given him a lot of tools in his arsenal to go out there and win games, and it's showing with these two, and then obviously J5 in the MVP race. So you got Nino with Jimmy Horn, obviously a receiver coming out of Colorado. Um, I would imagine he's in the slot dog, slot demon, gadget player type of feel. Um, Saints had 6 wins, I think. So, would like to see them able to do a little bit more. But that doesn't all fall on Jimmy Horn. So Jimmy Horn, shout out to him for being able to, make his name known and get up here. He's the fourth, fifth receiver. So, you know, I like Jimmy Horn in real life. I think he'll be one of those guys in real life that probably takes about a year or two to really get the ball rolling. But he definitely has a lot of potential and upside, I would say. You got the Rams with Keandre Lambert Smith. Rams obviously fell a little bit short this year of where they wanted to be in the playoffs. Lambert Smith. Interesting to see how much yards he really, really had. He's down here obviously at 8. But Auburn receiver, Auburn's not known for, the best receivers. I think he was like a solid 6'2", 6'3" guy too as well. So kind of in that like 6'1". So he's in that like do all role type of size when you're like 6'1", 6'2", around like buck 85 to about 200, 212 maybe even. Kind of is supposed to. I expect most of those type of receivers to be able to do a little bit of everything, do it all. A little bit of slot, a little bit outside, a little bit of rack. Um, Maybe not the biggest go get it type of jump ball skill coming out of 6'1", 6'2", but be able to fight for your position. And knowing the way that the Rams are and how they coach and how they play with their real football, uh, I know that this guy is doing something because he's got two good receivers over there. So to be able to find that third to kind of find a way to get in where you fit in and still make it hard to just lock in on two brings him a little different mix to their receiver room. And you got Kobe Hudson, squeeze it back at it again with another receiver. Kobe was good coming out of high school. Then, believe he transferred down. I want to say he was at a different school before he settled at UCF. He's at Auburn, right? If I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me. Kobe was at Auburn. I think Kobe was at Auburn, if I'm not mistaken. Kobe was at Auburn, transferred down to UCF. He played as a true freshman at Auburn, but I think he kind of saw where the Auburn light was going to go, maybe. They also got Cam Coleman and Perry Thompson in real life, so they're heavy on those guys. But Kobe's a dog. True freshman, I remember Kobe he did solid, if I recall. Um, Went down to UCF, been good there, been wide receiver one type energy there. So, and not really just getting a UCF receiver, he's really getting the Auburn receiver that just didn't want to be there anymore. Um, but I like this. This again tells me the story about where Squeeze's offense is. He's playing young. He's keeping those young guys active, trying to find a sense of identity for the players and what they're going to do for his role in the offense. And it seems that it all came together because they're sitting here in the top 10. So shout out to Squeeze. Then we got the second Commanders player here, Oscar Delp. Chugi was avidly talking about getting a tight end. He wanted a tight end. He was talking to trade talks with me for a tight end. You know, on the doing his active GMness for a tight end, and then he goes into the draft and he finds him a tight end, and Oscar Delp coming out of Georgia. I mean, Georgia's had a couple of tight ends come out. Even when Bowers was there, people were saying that Delp was good. He was up next, and you see Delp in real life. He's a solid tight end. About 6'5", 6'6", a little bit on the slimmer side, stretching the field, a little bit of a vertical threat type style. So I know that it's being, rehearsed and reused the same way here, playing to that play style, understanding what type of tight end he's got. And, when you put it around a nice running back that he's have, obviously at 4, opens up play action, opens up just the linebackers to come down a little bit, and it makes you question, what safety you're going to have to put on him because he is outrunning most linebackers at this stage. But I mean, shout out to the NFC. I like these rookies up here. I like these rookies up here. It's a decent little spread. And you got the defensive rookies. You got Jack Sawyer, Harold Perkins, both high picks. Barrett Carter, first round, I want to say. Josiah Stewart, don't remember what round he went in. Don't ask me how to say his last name, but Nick, Tommy Hill, Fintrell Cyphers II, Mikael Williams, Elijah Roberts, and Zamaya Vaughn. Jack Sawyer, a high-rated prospect right now, high projected prospect right now, comes out high, goes to the Lions, pair him with Aiden Hutchinson. This is smart GMing right here. Like, this is a good 1-2. It's understanding your roster, knowing what you need to do to it to amping things up. And honestly, you can't sit there and double team Aiden all game now because got a lean, got another D tackle, and then you got Jack Sawyer that's also coming off the edge. So this is a great pick by the GM, seeing his team, seeing everything through and through, and doing what's best for the org. Harold Perkins, they tried this linebacker thing in real life a couple years ago. The Cardinals don't really seem to have a sense of pass rush. Not really going to get it from just a standout DN all the time. So they've went the route more of like a linebacker, kind of trying to reuse and recycle the Chandler Jones thing that they had obviously a couple of years back. And it looks like they found them one. They got Harold Perkins. He's coming out again, a high-rated prospect in real life, high-rated recruit, high-rated college player. Comes into the NFL, does what he needs to do first year, makes some noise. Team's not where he exactly wants it to be, but he is definitely part of their future going forward and probably something they will build upon. Got Barrett Carter, one of my favorite players in real life. I fucked with Barrett Carter years ago, a couple years ago in different leagues. I've had Barrett Carter on my team when we get to those draft points. Solid recruit. Very, very athletic, very, very skilled as far as pass rushing ability and also being able to check running backs. I would view him like a Micah Parsons in a sense. Like that would be his player comp to me. I do think he can cover a little bit more than Micah Parsons, but that's his player comp. Goes out for the Commanders. Again, another organization that came from pass rush that had pass rush to, they have some guys, but they have still solid D tackles. Put Barrett on the outside, makes for a good recipe. That's why he started on the list. Then we got Josiah Stewart for the Bucks. Josiah Stewart coming out of Michigan. Defensive end, I think they have him categorized as. Got Vita Vea. Kind of the same thing with the story with the Commanders, and even a little bit with the Lions. This is a product of knowing your defense, knowing what you have already, and knowing how to make that better, and also put yourself in a good position to have a good stud. Michigan rush end I wouldn't say extremely high, but high prospect. Um, I think he benefits fully from just having an established defense and an established D tackle like Vita Vea. And then you got the other young bull that came out of Pitt like 2 years ago. Um, that was good in real life. I don't know how good he came into the game or how good a squeeze got him, but Elijah Cansey is the name I'm thinking of. They were calling him, AD player comp a couple years ago. Josiah Stewart's a player that I think paired well with that defense, put him in a good situation, and now we're looking at it. So shout out to Squeeze. And then you got Nas up here with Nick. Not going Iman Wari. Yeah, Iman Wari. I guess we'll go with that. Coming out of South Carolina, listed as a DB. I wonder if he has him playing safety, corner, probably safety at 6'3", 6'4", 220. I'm assuming some sub linebacker. I'm assuming some straight up safety. Could be all sub linebacker, but on a Packers defense where the front seven is already kind of in a good position, you get Xavier McKinney, who in real life is having a great year, but we all know in Madden he's not that fast, so you know can only use him for so well or for so long or exactly a certain way. Go and get a good safety here with Nick, pair him across with those DBs he has. Obviously, they ended their season a little bit early, but I don't specifically know if Nick is to blame, but Nick isn't to blame for getting them there. You know what I'm saying? He's had a good year. Lean on a rookie. He shows you production. Got to pat him on the back. So shout out to Nick. Then you got Tommy Hill for the Niners. Coming out of Nebraska. This is solid right here. He's not anything crazy. 6 foot DB. So this tells me this is just, again, put it across with Javius Ward, who was in top defensive player of the year, top five. He's got a good 1-2 punch. He's learning from a vet, and he's playing like a vet. So shout out to Tommy Hill. We got Cypress for the Cowboys. DB. You see the Cowboys in real life. They're projected to get another DB to go with Diggs. I think they miss Gilmore a lot more than what they noticed in real life, but need another DB. He got rid of Bland. His safety room, I don't know what he drafted this year, but safety room and Dallas to start isn't all that. The corner room, once you get past Diggs and Bland, it's kind of like you're either going for speed or you're just going for just a man corner, and I think it just leaves you a little lopsided. So I like the pick, fits the needs. Um, Solid corner for Florida State. Obviously, Florida State's not doing well, but that does not necessarily affect the one player's impact and how well they're doing on the game. So I think this is a good pick. Matches the teams, matches what he needs, and it's got good output for it. And we go to Michael Williams. So we got two Packer players up here, um, along with, I think he's the only one that doubles up. Two Packers, Vikings, Eagles, yeah. So only two Packers players. So a couple of different, multiple teams on the offensive. But we got Michael Williams for the Packers coming out of Georgia. Plays that outside linebacker edge role. I don't really know if he still has Gary over there, but if you have Gary, pair him with Gary. And don't. I'm pretty sure you still got Then you still got good inside linebackers with Quay and the other boy. Then you still got the D tackle Kenny Clark. So you put him on a defense like this, and you put him back there with a good safety and some good corners. Let him go loose. Honestly, Georgia's produced some freak athletes the last couple of years. This is another one of those 6'5", 6'6", freak athlete like 270 or something like that. Can move, got hips, and coming out of the SEC where they're building grown men closer than any other division in college or conference in college. So I think this fits. It's a good fit. Um, Not too much pressure on him having to come out and do things, and then he gets a lot of output out of it. Then we got Elijah Roberts coming out of Minnesota, defensive end coming out of SMU. Definitely not a high rated prospect. 6'4", 6'5", about 300 pounds though. So he could be playing some of that three rec. Could be playing some D tackle. The Vikings not going to go too much there because they're not having a great season. But shout out to Elijah Roberts. Then we got Samaya Vaughn from Philly. Hmm. So he's listed as a straight cornerback coming out of Utah. A little interesting to see, but they did let Slay go. He's over there in Jacksonville. So got the young corner Mitchell, got Dijon, got another corner over there. They got Isaiah Rogers with like 94, 95 speed, and then they got this guy. So I think the Eagles are just definitely, this is just a win. They necessarily need him, but they keep the cornerback. They're keeping the cornerback room young, keeping it fresh. And I don't really know all of who else he lost minus Slay, so maybe he didn't re-sign one of those guys back. But this is a solid pick. Utah is obviously not known for a master class of DBs. He's about 6 foot, 182, so he's nothing, crazy height, crazy weight. But we love to see the rookies. So then we got the NFC best quarterback, Stafford, who's on the block apparently and no longer is wanted. Jaden Daniels, who came from the Commanders and is having great back-to-back seasons. Jordan Love, one of the top quarterbacks, I think, last year, if I recall. Um, Sitting here on his way to Cancun. Uh, but Jordan Love is a guy. Joe Milton, acquired from the Patriots, year one, early, comes up here, earns a starting spot in New York, kicked Daniel Jones to the curb, and he's fourth on the list in his second year. I mean, shout out to the Giants. I mean, they didn't, like I said, they're one game out from being in the playoffs. So I think this is big, and I think going forward, it's interesting to see where these four will be next year as far as on the list because he is supposedly out the door. Running it back with these two, could this be 1-2, or does Milton go from 4-1 if he can follow up with another great year? And then we got Ryan fucking Tannehill. AR Ryan Tannehill. I gotta say, I do give my hats off to the Lions and Zada for not making any trades, for real, if any. I'm hearing not any, but I don't really know exactly. Um, AR's of Ryan Tannehill, doesn't AR golf? I do remember that topic though, way back when. And I mean, having a good year. He's got players in the top five. He's in the top five. And not a lot of people definitely would do this and like play with a guy like Ryan Tannehill. Some guys would play with some regular quarterbacks like in the game, but I don't really know why really ever Ryan Tannehill brought a lot of interest. Maybe he had a lot of points, so you knew we would get a lot of upgrades on him. Um, but shout out to Ryan Tannehill. Obviously, you're topping Offensive Player of the Year. Going to be topping whatever category you in. Already talked about Josh Jacobs. Shout out to him. Same thing with Saquon. Same thing with Jonathan Brooks. Same thing with Nick Singleton. And then we got Henderson. I already talked about these guys individually. Shout out to them. Gibbs looking on the outside end. Another dog right here. So Marv, talked about him earlier, Offensive Player of the Year. Makes sense for him to be a top receiver. He was the first receiver. Second being Savion, and he was the top Rookie of the Year. Makes sense for him to be on here for the, top three, top four type of situation for his receiver. But this is our first rookie up on this list, so shout out to him. Double down. Christian Watson, all around Madden guy. Kind of the same with DK Metcalf. Vertical deep threat, 6'4", 6'5". Really tough to get a hold on if you don't have the right personnel to match up. Evan Stewart was in the top offensive. He was like second on the offensive rookie of the year. Makes sense for him to be up here. He's having a great year with DK Metcalf also being at four. That makes that a little bit heightened when I spoke on both of them. Well, spoke on Evan earlier and then speaking on them now because they're right here back to back. Do see that Bucks rookie here. And then I also see some Giants here. So it's a little. I like the versatility in the teams. All of these teams, minus the Vikings, I believe, are had playoff potential or are in the playoffs. So I like it. Shout out to the number one lineman, Kevin Zouter. That's really all I'm gonna do for linemen, cause what the fuck. Brian Burns makes sense. Top defensive player of the year in the runnings. So makes sense for him to be up here. He's accompanied with Jack Sawyer, a rookie, Micah Parsons, a dog, AR Cameron Jordan, I'm sure, a dog, and legend DeMarcus Ware. So you got the Cowboys up here twice. They're in the playoffs. Makes sense. Their D line and credits to that. Harold Perkins, best linebacker. He was second on Defensive Rookie of the Year. Makes sense. Bringing the Cardinals exactly what they need. Not having the best season, but looking forward to when they can put some other pieces together now because of a guy like Harold Perkins. Josiah Stewart, talked about him. Diaper Dandy, rookie, whatever you want to call it. Um, Sitting here at two. So this is nice to see. You got two rookies, and you got a legend with accompanied by his other teammate Thibodeau on the other side. This is a situation over here in New York for sure. And then Elgin Cooper at five for best linebacker. That's the other guy I was thinking of. Elgin Cooper, and then they got Quay Walker, and maybe even another linebacker if I recall. But I like to see it. All playoff teams are had a chance at the playoffs minus Harold Perkins. He's just being that guy. Kind of the same thing with Evan Stewart and all the other like one-offs. J.C. Horn, John Lynch, best DBs make sense. Topping their individual, or topping those accolades before with defensive player and defensive rookie of the year, having good years. Same with Davis Ward. You got Diggs up here. So you got Micah, you got Ware, you got Diggs. Makes sense. We got D line, or we got DBs getting that pressure, making you throw picks, or we got some coverage guys that can still do what they got to do. Then you got Winfield mixed with John Lynch, mixed with Josiah Scott. Kind of the same thing it's looking like. We got defensive line with Vita Vea, we got him. We got Josiah Stewart, and then we got Winfield and John Lynch to cover us in the back end. Best kicker, Christopher Dunn. AFC, shout out to Tez Johnson for winning Offensive Player of the Year. Hold on, fellas, my girl. All right, we back. Shout out to Tez Johnson for the Chargers. Was a little disappointed. I said that earlier. My mic was muted though. It's three teams on the AFC. I was a little disappointed, or a little shocked by um, Nunu with the Chargers, the Browns, and the Texans. I like to see Tez up here. I would like to see it attribute next year to some more wins. That is not a shot. That is an actual. I would like to see Tez and the production turn into, you know, more wins for the team because Tez is a dog. Evans is a dog over there in Seattle. His teammate right here, Tez, is a dog for the Chargers. Do it all type of receiver. I imagine he has him in there doing everything he needs. I hope he has Ladd shitting because Ladd's a dog. And then I don't know if he uses Quentin Johnson still, but Madden Quentin Johnson isn't that bad compared to real life. So he's got some weapons over there in LA, but the rookie led the helm. Shout out to Tez. Tez is yeah, Tez is yeah, shout out to Tez. Squirrel. I mean, dog all year, was a dog at Tennessee. I think he was the one that pleaded his case for Squirrel to make sure he was in this class. Then he goes out and gets Squirrel, and now Squirrel is doing this. So I know there's no better feeling for Donnie and these Jets. I mean, there's not much to say. SEC built receiver. See him on Saturdays doing special things. Not a super tall guy, obviously. Nigga's like 5'9", but he'll walk right by you, me, and the bus that was already down the street if he needs to. Extremely shifty if can be, just quick, agile. Put him there with the weapons that's already over there, and the Jets. It's just tough. You got A Rod still throwing the rock. AR A Rod at that, so he's down there somewhere if he needs him to be. Throw the drag, he might get 20 yards. Squirrel's a weapon of all kinds. Gadget, throw him in the backfield, throw him out the back. Like, it doesn't really matter. So shout out to the Jets for just getting their guy and going the fuck off with him for real. Got C-Mac, kind of the same situation, but not drafted for him. Came in, knew what he wanted to get, knew what he needed to get, knew what he wanted to do to get him. And Christian McCaffrey has been short of hasn't been short of anything but greatness actually for the Bills. He basically is their offense. Can't really move without him. As far as like move how they want to move. Can move the ball, throwing it. They do throw it obviously to other people, but everything starts at the helm with Christian McCaffrey. If he's having a good day, you're probably losing the game for the Bills. So shout out to Craig for just doing his GM shit and doing what he's got to do. Christian McCaffrey always has the capability to be one of the best running backs, along with like a Saquon. Uh, as far as that dual threat, a Bijan, where you do whatever you really like want to do with them for real. Christian needs a little bit more like toughen up building, but really do whatever you want to do with them just about as far as on the offensive game to fit into any and about most schemes. Only other person I would say that just is damning is maybe like a Jonathan Taylor and a Derrick Henry, where like if you're just looking for a pure running back, they can fit your needs too. Shout out to CMC, Andre Reed, legend. Like I said earlier, if Craig has Amari Cooper, I think it's a little bit different on how that offense would even look more. Obviously, we started it before Amari trade happened. Um, but Andre Reed is just that for him. It works into wherever Christian McCaffrey is, Andre isn't basically, and then vice versa. Um, these two guys really hold it down for Craig and make the big plays happen and step up for him to make it work with Josh to start because we all know the situation there to start isn't actually ideal, and then you add Keon into the mix. Um, it has upside when you got those two type of guys, these type of receivers, these weapons. Then you got Mike Evans. Mike Evans sent over for Jamar Chase. Um, Mike started off hot. You got they were him and T were like 1 and 2 for majority of the season, or like a good amount of the season, especially in the beginning. I don't really know about majority, but a good amount of the season, especially in the beginning. Um, and it's good to see Mike do his shit because Mike Evans in real life is just one of them ones. Like if you know, you know. He's been one of them ones. A healthy Mike Evans is a dog. He doesn't really need to walk by you as much as these other guys above with the speed, but he's through and through a solid ass wide receiver. He's got a young buck throwing to him, but he's giving him a lot of targets. So I know Mike's happy because all he wants to do is he wants to win. Don't get it wrong, but he got his bowls already with Brady. So at this point, he just want to make sure he finish out in that Hall of Fame conversation for his career, and the Bengals will continue to throw him the football. So shout out to Mike. All right, Defensive Player of the Year, um, Justin Barron. So the Browns have joined the conversation of teams that are still on the up end trying to get it together, um, but also have a couple players to like look forward to, and are going to be able to make their organization have bright spots. And what I mean by those bright spots is you build around them. You know how to identify who's going to make a play for you when it gets down to Um, when it gets down to tight games or big ball games, you'll be able to know how to set up some guys to be. I believe he's a DB, if I'm not mistaken. Um, he's like 6'3" though, too, I think. But got him over there with Ward, cornerbacks defense. I mean, the Browns defense on Madden is great. So I think this is just a matter of a good fit and, probably a good fit, honestly. And I would say a little bit of, like I said, the Browns are a team I put a little bit under where I thought they would be at. So I think these are results of just having bright spot and something to look forward to. He's probably going to do a lot better next year as a player. Amari Burney, um, coming from the Raiders. Oh shit. I think he's a linebacker for the Raiders. So interesting. He's probably fast as shit. I couldn't tell you much about him in real life, but I'm imagining he's fast. Uh, probably. Anybody want to tell me if they know he's an edge rusher or not? I don't really know, honestly. I know Von Miller. We know who Von Miller is. I'll come back to Barney if I need to, but I know Von Miller. We know who Von Miller is. One of the only keepable pieces to upside on the defense when you get them to start for the Bills. Obviously, Craig was going to AR him. Obviously, he's going to try to put him in every situation to win. And he looks like he's done just exactly that. Vaughn got him another ring last year, and it looks like they're trying to be on the way to getting another one. So shout out to Vaughn. TJ Watt, I mean, we know who TJ Watt is. He's a dog. Ray's D line is literally disgusting. Like, it's foul, it's criminal. For him to have what he has on his D line. And I'm surprised we don't see like a lot more of there goes Highsmith though. But it's just there's nothing you can really do about it. Like you can't double team anybody. Everybody's got an ability, and this is one of the best players already in the game. So pair all that together with somebody that knows that and somebody that's a fan of the Steelers, you get TJ Watt. Then you got J.J. Weaver from the Bengals. So the Bengals got some offensive guys up here. They got some defensive guys up here. Even though they finished with a 5-win season, it does again give them upside on exactly knowing what you have, knowing how to walk into certain ball games, and put those guys in position so you can get out there and make plays. So you can make a couple plays turn into wins, and then there you go. Um, Weaver is a defensive end though. So you pair him across with Hendrickson, and then whatever little D tackles they got, I forget his name. And then they have a good secondary over there in general to start. They got some speed. They got Daxton Hill. They got some things. So whatever they have added to that, I'm sure it can help on the back end. But it all starts with the D line. Um, so shout out to JJ Weaver. All right, talked about Tez. It's a middle linebacker. Weaver is, or the Bernie dude is the middle linebacker. Cause I thought Weaver was an end out of like Kansas or some shit like that. Weaver. Oh, okay, so he plays middle. So okay, so he's holding it down in the middle then. That's what's up then. Cause y'all know you got the older, you got Pratt to start, and you got I think Holcomb maybe. Um, so that's what's up. I ain't gonna lie. Like the linebackers for the Bengals is one of the things I think in real life that they need. They need to get that front seven intact in real life. So this is a good piece right outside linebacker by playing this middle. This is a good piece for the defense right here because I mean, like I said, the Bengals in real life front seven really isn't the best. They have some bright spots, but we got offensive rookies. Talked about Tez. Talked about Squirrel. Isaiah Bond. I mean, he's a dog. The Colts, a little short of a playoff season, um, but they got this weapon They got the weapon with I'm sure I don't know if they use Pittman, but I mean Pittman's a dog to me in the game and out the game. Um, and then they still got Jonathan Taylor. The base is always going to be Jonathan Taylor and the effectiveness of him and the mobile quarterback that they have. But shout out to Bond. Then you got Jaden Blue, running back. So trade Derrick Henry back to the Titans. Make sure they go get them a running back. They don't lean on Mitchell to be the number one back. And I mean, some can say it's a good move, but I still think Derrick Henry is him. Jadon Blue was solid though. He's solid back. He's just a young gunner. I think the biggest thing with him is he's not overly exceptionally fast and he's not overly exceptionally powerful. So he's got to be lined up with some good blocking schemes and some good just offensive play calling across the board for him to continue to be able to do good things. I know he can catch the ball a little bit. But I like him at 4. So I know his productivity is getting a lot. He's getting a lot of productivity. But I do think Derrick Henry was a better option. It just wasn't for Rob, but like in the game, I think he should have just found a way to figure that out, or gone and got like a Bijan or somebody, just getting more out of that position. Um, so Cam Ward's MVP, but he's 5 on the offensive rookie of the year. Don't really know how that works, but that's Cam Ward. We got Dane Key for the Browns. Oh, man, don't text my phone with that bullshit. We got Dane Key for the Browns, my fault, fellas. Dane Key for the Browns at 6. Coming out of Kentucky, wide receiver. So he's got Amari over there still if you traded him. He had Jerry Judy, don't know. He's got Elijah Moore and Joku, who doesn't have Chubb anymore. So I like Dane Key. It sounds like he fits like in that lineup pretty well. He's like 6'3", something like that. Solid receiver. I mean, shit, at 6, right behind Cam Ward and these guys. I know he's close. He's having 1,000-yard season. If I had to guess, he's probably on the outside. It probably goes him and Amari on the outside, Judy in the middle. I know he doesn't probably have probably doesn't have either one of Amari or Judy no more, but ideally, whatever he has to start. Really on my, oh yeah, it's repeating comments now. So we got Ollie Gordon, dog running back in real life, high prospect coming out. Goes and gets Ollie Gordon, traded Nick Chubb last season. I like the move. I mean, it's kind of the same thing with Derrick Henry. I think Chubb is just far more effective in the game. But if you're gonna go get a running back after you trade away a guy like Henry, trade away a guy like Chubb, I do expect them to get good output. Do expect them to get good results. And it looks like he's done that with Ollie Gordon. So shout out to Ollie Gordon at 7 and the Browns. Then we got Trav, taken at 5, slid at 5. Obviously, plays both sides of the ball. Kind of slow walked him into the cornerback position. Really only dime. Long third downs, long second downs. Maybe if you go for it on fourth. Had a good year at wide receiver. I could say, obviously, I think I had a couple of missed games. But the way that the play style is with me, you're not going to see Travis Hunter always just go the fuck crazy in most of my games. He gets a lot of looks. I like when he gets attention. Kind of attributes to college, where if he gets attention, somebody else is open, somebody else gets the ball. Name of the game is moving the ball and scoring touchdowns. I don't really care who. But Trav will have a solid sophomore campaign. I think he's a pro. I think he hit like 1,000 yards, like right under it. So shout out to Trav. Luther Burden making his ways over there as a rookie. wide receiver, surrounded by CeeDee Lamb and Devontae Adams, just a bunch of get open wide receivers. And I think he's got one more wide receiver too with some speed, just some get open wide receivers. And then Burden applies get open with some speed, get open, whichever order you want to put it in. Um, and it kind of fits the pedigree. Got the 6'1" Adams, 5'11", 6 foot CD, or what CD, like 6'1", some shit like that. Then Burton's like 5'11". Trey Tucker's still over there, maybe, with some speed. And then you got tall Brock Bowers. So I like the weapons that Cam has. Burton is a dog in college right now. He's going to be good when he comes into the league. So it's good to see it happening right now. Then you got Carson Beck. So obviously no Brown, no Deshaun Watson. Probably definitely wouldn't have kept Jameis. Obviously me either. Don't go trade for a quarterback because why? Not everybody needs one. Bring in Carson Beck. He has won a national championship. He is like 27, but I'm sure we probably made him like 22. But I like to see it up here. The Browns were a little bit short of the playoffs. They got some other people up here on the list with Ali and Dane. So you got three rookies right now that are the key focals of his offense, it looks like. So the Browns definitely should be having a better year next year. It's a lot of rookie pains to go through in one season, but they made it out here knowing that, three of their guys are the top 10 guys in the league. So shout out to the Browns and Carson Beck. I already talked about Justin Barron and Weaver. Um, so then we got Maxwell Harrison for the Jets. Did the Jets lose a game? Did they lost? How many games did the Jets lose this year? I think they only lost. I only lost like two. But Maxwell's a cornerback out of Kentucky. A couple Kentucky guys drafted this year. Um, pair him across with Sauce. It's a nice, good matchup. Good person to learn from. They got a good defensive line. They have a good coach that obviously understands the game and has majority won than he has lost. Um, I like the pick here. I don't know when they got him, what selection, what round, but they're getting good productivity out of him. They're building, keeping their team young, keeping them getting developed, putting them alongside with other guys that are already good in that position group. Um, but I think the Maxwell it's a second corner up here. So shout out to the Jets and Donnie. Then we got James Pierce, followed up again by the Jets, like I said, putting key matchups across with key guys. You got Quentin Williams, you got the other baby boy on the DN, you got good linebackers, got good corners, and then you make sure you get a young DN, give you some spark, give you some speed. He definitely had to be a first round, getting that productivity though, but I like it. I mean, he's attributing to wins for the Jets, so shout out to the Jets, shout out to James Pierce. Takario Davis, um, coming from Baltimore. I don't know where this nigga was at last night. I mean, it was probably burnt cookie. Um, 6'4" though, 6'3", tall corner. Um, Solid though. I like him. He's coming out of Arizona. It's not exactly DBU, but I mean, when you got 6'4", 6'3", can't miss up on that type of value. What that can turn into, what that can be. Coming off the rookie campaign, I'm sure he started all season probably along with Marlon and maybe Nate. He might have got moved to safety for all I know, or he might have came out as a safety because it says he's a defensive back. So, but I like the pick. I mean, it fits the protocol over there. He's got some tall DBs. He's got Kyle. He's got everything as far as like position groups across the board. He's got guys there. So I think this will be a nice little year two player for them to know that they can lean on. And you got Ethan Downs, edge rush for the Titans. Titans, I mean, they got plenty of DBs, You need plenty of pass rush, kind of 1-2 punch that you'll see consistently throughout leagues. Ethan Downs, high-rated prospect coming out of college. Um, the Titans definitely put him in a lot of situations to get one-on-one with that man blitz scheme. So they know they got something to look forward to. Maybe some guys that'll, I mean, some guy that'll win, different types of matchups next year with Ethan Downs. We got Samel Mondin Jr. for the Broncos. I want to say this is the first Broncos player I've here seen anywhere. Um, Played linebacker for Georgia. I'm sure he's still playing linebacker for, excuse me, for the Broncos. They really don't have a linebacker identity minus like Baron Browning. Um, so I like the pick. I think that I like the pick. I like the player. I like this here. I think, you got a guy that's coming out of Georgia, SEC, a lot of linebackers, a lot of defensive players coming out of Georgia. You know what you're kind of getting. You know what work ethic you're getting. You know what type of like versatile player they are. Although their position might be X, they're just capable of doing more because they've always been asked to do more and they've done more. So it's nice to see Mondon on here. I don't know if Jared is still primarily using D line, but when you got at least guy like this in the back end, or right behind you, filling gaps, cutting tackles, making plays. Broncos, I feel like have always been a defensive first kind of team. So shout out to Mondon for the Broncos. Y'all let Craig get Sony Styles like late as hell in the first round, like last pick in the first round. Sony Styles, do it all player out of Ohio State. Can play slot corner, can play linebacker, can play safety. Uh, didn't catch the game winning pick, but did catch a pick and, playoff matchup as a rookie. Um, just an all around dog for real. So play some with a recovering defense that's got a Milano as another good linebacker. I know they worked on their D line, and the corners are probably touch and go, but I know he put some efforts into there. You got a guy that can definitely move across the field and make sure the back end secondary is secure. You got Jalen Husky for the Colts. Colts got a couple guys on the awards. Defensive back coming out of Maryland, 6'2", 191. Um, didn't play the Colts personally and remember him. Shit, excuse me. Didn't play the Colts personally and remember him, but I mean the Colts definitely are weak as hell in cornerback in real life. So I like what he did here. He drafted a need. The need came out. It produced, and now he knows going into the future, into next season, that he can rely and use this guy. And you got Josh Piercy to round off defensive rookies of the year. Linebacker coming into the Raiders, another team where I would say their linebackers really aren't that good. You got like Diablo and like one other guy. But as far as just like overall and being a consistent, like thorough, player on the game, or use like thorough and consistent like CPU on the game, you need to pick higher rated, more balanced guys that can be able to put you in good situations, whether you need it or not. 4-3, 3-4, big nickel. Like you need the versatility to be there, and I think that's what they got here in this Josh Piercy. And that rounds off the rookies. Cam Ward obviously is going to be his quarterback. As quarterback one, he's the MVP. Lamar, Josh Allen, Trevor, talked about them. Vince Young, solid quarterback, underrated. I think he runs when he needs to, but he definitely can throw. He can throw a couple good passes, and I think he just really has a good patience. He's a good timer in his head. Chris McCaffrey in the MVP race. Nick Chubb, that's understandably who I said you don't trade here. Then the Ravens have Jaden Blue here, who they traded Derrick Henry, who's at 4. So, I mean, I guess you can say that he got a win, but I think this just produces from the Titans he uses Derrick Henry sometimes, and he uses the other back he has sometimes. And the Titans, I think, just maybe throws a little bit more than Rob, maybe. But I think if you could do this with Jaden Blue, I think Henry was cool. Could have been cool for Rob, but I think he could have got him, like I said, a Bijan I know Travis Etienne was available for him. So I wonder if like what it could be for real. Like could we be talking about not exactly like Christian McCaffrey, but if he's using this type of output with Blue, would he have got a different type of output with another back that would have put him in a situation? Then you got Travis Etienne at 5. I think obviously if you know the Jags are doing well on a Madden purpose, that Etienne has to be a part of that. So as much as Trevor is doing well, it comes down to Travis sometimes for real, on the most of the ball games. You got Tez, Squirrel, they're gonna be up here. Andre Reed gonna be up here. They were all in offensive player MVP runnings. Mike Evans, same thing, dog. And then here comes his teammate T. Higgins, who they kept instead of Jamar, paid him. And, like I said, these two guys were 1-2 for receivers down the stretch for the first couple of weeks. O-line, shout out to Andre James, Von Miller, TJ Watt, they were in the runnings. I told you guys Highsmith was in those defensive player of the year runnings down there too, so it makes sense. Joe Green, so you got the Steelers, like I said, but they have one of the most disgusting defensive lines that I've seen, period. Um, all superstar, X Factor or superstar. I don't know if Highsmith put up the X Factor, but then you also have Hayward, I believe, here, and this is just a force. Then you got Latu, who was like a rookie, I think, when you start the disc. Um, but they have him developed. He's doing well now, and that rounds off the top 5. You got Khalil Mack, AR Khalil Mack. You got Weaver on the inside linebacker. You got an edge rusher. They moved Miles Garrett to linebacker, and he's at 4. And then they got a cornerback at 5. So the Browns got some players right here in the top as well. Talked about Harrison at cornerback, Gilmore, cornerback. This is a good pickup for Craig. Like I said, the cornerbacks over there definitely need work, but he's got Sony and he's got here and now, and he's got the other baby boy I talked about to help. Cornerback for the Ravens, I mean, was on the defensive rookie of the year, up here at 3rd. So I guess definitely might find somebody on the way out the door in the cornerback room. I just don't feel like they're going to be sitting on all 4 of the corners that they have right now. You make change the scheme up, leaning towards safeties, or find something to be. I just don't feel like if you're getting this type of output, you're gonna want to try to get in his way. I don't know if he was a full-time starter, but I know we saw a lot of Marlon yesterday, so it made me question it. DJ Turner, fast as hell, cornerback, dog. Um, Undersized, but plays literally through that with speed and just mentality. So shout out to DJ Turner, and then one of the best cornerbacks, if not one of the best cornerback in the game right now in real life, and maybe on here too, honestly, is Surtain. So although the Broncos not having the season they wanted, they got a linebacker and they got Surtain doing what they're supposed to do. So something to look forward to. Best kicker is Daniel Carson. So out of there. I got some shit to do, so appreciate y'all. Those are the awards. Uh, I give everybody like, if you stay here the whole time, I actually do have something for you. I'm not giving a gift for the regular, me just doing this shit, because like I said, we were supposed to do that shit last night. But if you're still here at this very moment, type just type still here. I ain't gonna say nothing funny. I ain't gonna be funny with nobody. Type still here. And I got something for you. I give y'all, it's 3:46. I give you till 3:48. And I ain't even gonna say nothing. I'm gonna just cut that shit. Coach D, what team are you? I know Brother Carter is the Bengals. Coach D9, what team are you? How you gonna type still here, but you ain't gonna tell me what team you are?